This domain requires attention. The people here are suffering under Nobutatsu's negligence, Ieyasu thought, reflecting on the current state. And he believes he can run a country, Makoto comments, her voice laced with a mix of disbelief and sarcasm.
True, bandits are running rampant, Naruto thought, tinged with a hint of frustration. They reach Nobutatsu's residence and guards keeping a few people from getting in amid their shouting. The guards and people see the convoy with a few recognizing Ieyasu as the second prince.
Prince? Ieyasu, one guard stutters, a mix of surprise and reverence in his tone. Yes, I am here to see Ohatsu, Toyomiya. Ieyasu says, his voice clear and authoritative. He then looks to the people with concern for their plight. Return to your home. Ieyasu commands, though gentle but was firm enough that the people slowly disperse as the convoy ride into the castle. A guard quickly fetches Ohatsu as Ieyasu and company dismount, but before long Ohatsu arrives. She has an effeminate face making her able to pass for male or female, short black hair in a pixie cut, and her eyes are like her father with light samurai armor. Prince, Ieyasu Ohatsu says, bowing deeply. Ieyasu beckons for Ohatsu to follow him to the wagon to reveal her father's armor, weapon and ashes, but also the body of Jin Ichinos. Ohatsu's knees nearly buckle at the sight of her father's effects, but she knew this would come. He died with honor as a proper samurai, Ieyasu says, his tone somber yet respectful, and Ohatsu slowly nods. She calls for her people to carry Jin's coffin and father's effects inside, while she and Ieyasu go to speak in private. Many things were discussed, like Miyako committing suicide with a servant's aid by drinking poison, most of her family's retainers fleeing along with similarly thinking nobles. By the end of their talks, Ieyasu would promise to make Ohatsu Jito of Akamitsuwari and send people for medical aid, but also deal with their banditry by way of Naruto, his army growing by another 100 by the end. Speaking. Summon. Bijou. Shadow Soldier. Pause. Long pause. Yenghanan. Disclaimer. I own nothing. Chappie 5. Land of Fire. Capital of Fire Country. Edo. You look good in a suit. Sweetie Chibi Makoto comments, her eyes sparkling with pride. The hidden blonde is wearing a three-piece black suit with a purple dress shirt and matching tie. His mask is discarded and purple contacts are in his eyes, as partygoers compliment him on his looks. I guess Aunt Miko, Naruto muses, running his fingers along his cheeks. It's been 5 months since the Nobutatsus defeated Happy, and 2 months since Ieyasu's coronation as Fire Daimyo. He led his forces to Edo for a fight, but didn't get one as his father's samurai general, Kagekatsu Kurogane, greets him as the Fire Daimyo. Kagekatsu informs him that once nobles learned of Nobutatsu's defeat at Happy and his capture, fled the country, but the number is few. Look, Tenten. Naruto looks good, cleaned up, Mei comments, champagne in her hand. Her auburn hair flowing free, and she wears a dark blue and flowing dress to her calves, with detached sleeves, but linked by silk and arm-length gloves. Tenten is wearing a white and pink cheongsam having short sleeves, flower designs and white gloves. I agree. Though I prefer blonde and blue-eyed Tenten, says playfully, her eyes scanning the crowd. The party is held in a vast hall, adorned with banners of the Fire Country symbol. Around the room, blossoms native to Fire's various territories were arranged meticulously that shed a warmth akin to the spirit of the celebration. The atmosphere is electric, with various dignitaries and samurai exchanging tales of valor. Naruto, Mei and Tenten, see Momo carrying Nozomi flanked by the imposing Kagekatsu, each wondering if the man ever smiles, and his own daughter Tsubaki with them. Lady Momo, Princess Nozomi, the three greet, bowing deeply. No need to bow so deeply. You saved my life and aided Ieyasu in ascending to the throne. Momo says, her voice gentle, yet carrying an inherent strength. Perhaps that it's proper decorum, Milady Kagekatsu says, his voice deep and commanding. He is tall and muscular man, with almost permanent crease between his thick eyebrows, brown hair in top knot and dressed, and a dark blue kosode, with light armor, black hakama and zori sandals. His daughter has inherited his thick eyebrows with large pink eyes, straight brown hair reaching her lower back with cropped bangs, apart from chin-length strands that frame the sides of her face, and in a high ponytail, having a headpiece with 2 pink flower-like beads. Greetings, Tsubaki says with a small, respectful nod. She wears a white robe with pink lining on the collar and sleeves, a turtleneck undershirt, pink hakama pants, black socks, and straw sandals. Nozomi coos softly with her tiny fingers reaching out towards Naruto. Tickle her hand, Makoto comments. Naruto gently tickles Nozomi's hand and elicits a giggle that draws smiles from everyone gathered except Kagekatsu. But the man had a rep to maintain even though he is girl dad. Momo moves on to other guests with a tiny wave from Nozomi, with Momo's help, and Tenten waving. The joy of a child really brings everyone together. Doesn't it, Tenten muses, watching the mother and child leaving. Mai notices a few casting curious glances in their direction, some good and some not, as they were of the mind that commoners should not be here. Seems some don't like we are here. We're not of proper breeding, Tenten says, imitating Hinata back in Konoha. Let them be jealous, in fact. How about 2 dances, Naruto says, a playful glint in his eyes and a mischievous smirk playing on his lip. I like the sound of that, Mei says, her voice carrying a mixture of excitement and a touch of defiance as Naruto extends his hand. Mei and Naruto step onto the dance floor as soft orchestra plays, whispers turning into curious silence. Their movements were fluid as a mesmerizing blend of strength and poise, while Mei moves with grace. The dance is a spectacle of synergy and affection as Mai's dress is a flowing garment that mirrors the ocean's depth, swaying with every turn and step, catching the light in a mesmerizing display. Together they paint a picture of unity that transcends their lives, embodying the possibility of a world where differences only serve to enrich communal bonds. The dance slowly with a twirl by Naruto with Mei, amidst a wave of applause towards Ten.
Ready, Naruto says, taking her hand. The dance with Tenten is a different kind of magic, where Mei and Naruto's dance was a display of elegance and power. Tenten and Naruto's performance is a symphony of precision but also agility. Her expertise in weaponry is mirrored in her movements. Each step and turn executed with the precision of a master, while Naruto matches her pace with ease, their movements telling a story of trust, resilience and unspoken bonds. The Chongsam's fabric flows like water, its movements a dance of its own, capturing the essence of Tenten's strength and grace. The white of her dress reflects the ballroom's light, creating a visual spectacle that drew all eyes to them. Their performance is not only a testament to their skills but a reflection of their journey together.
I didn't know Naruto could dance, Ieyasu says, sitting with Momo and holding Nozomi with his eyes shining with genuine surprise. He has many secrets, Momo says, drinking some sparkling water with a hint of lemon, and a small smile playing on her lips. The second dance ends amid more applause, but didn't seem to reach some of the nobles as they turned their noses up at the trio. They ignore this and continue to mingle, but also enjoying them until they leave around midnight, heading to their room in the east of the castle. The next morning, Ieyasu calls them to a meeting that would change things. Present are Ieyasu, Kagekatsu, Naoe, and Tsunade, who had arrived during the night. She, Shizune, and Karen have been in Akamitsuwari for medical aid to the new Jito Ohatsu, Toyomiya. Tsunade. You know of the 12 ninja guardians, Ieyasu asks, his voice steady and the blonde nods. Yes, but they fell apart a few years ago during an attempted coup by some of their members. Surely you don't intend to revive it, Tsunade replies, her voice laced with skepticism. Her time in Akimitsuwari has shown her the delicate balance of power, and how quickly it could be upended with a corrupt ruler. Indeed I do, but this one will be different. This group I will call the Gaudi 13 or 13 Court Guard. It will be made up of 6 ninja and 6 samurai. You and Nao will its supreme commanders overseeing each facet, Ieyasu explains, his words painting a vision of a new order. Quite, the honor my lord Nao says, his voice tinged with undisguised pride. Humility is always more of a cloak than a trait for Nao, and his willingness to dive headfirst into the unknown is as predictable as the dawn. I agree, but who would fill these ranks? Tsunade asks, her mind already sifting through potential candidates and dismissing some but pondering over others. Ieyasu looks to Naruto and his 2 companions. I will extend the offer to the 3 of you, Ieyasu says. Us, Tenten says, incredulously. Yes, the 3 of you aided me in taking the throne and deserve such a position. You will have the same rights as Sannin, and you will take orders from either Tsunade or Nao with supreme authority to me, or Kagekatsu. Ieyasu explains and looks to Tsunade. You will also gain back what you lost to assist me, Lady Tsunade. Same with Shizune. She and Karen will be Momo and Nozomi's personal doctors and ladies-in-waiting, he adds with solemnity. Thank you, Daimyo-sama, Tsunade says, nodding her head respectfully. Thank you for such an honor, Daimyo-sama, Naruto says, as Mei and Tenten quickly voice their gratitude as well. Excellent. Though your first mission will take you to somewhere I believe you will not wish to go, Naruto. Ieyasu starts and takes a serious look. I would you to accompany Tsunade to Konoha, he adds, and the room goes cold. Mei and Tenten take Naruto's hands as Ieyasu clears his throat. It will be one of recruitment. The 3 of you and Tsunade will search Konoha's ranks from Genin to Anbu for 3 ninja to join the Gaudi. Now I'm sure Hiruzen and his council will throw certain names for this, but I want people of noble intent. Not to pump up their ego, he adds. I'm sure certain elements will put up their airs, but I agree. Those with skill and noble of heart should join, Nao says, his voice laced with determination.
Why from Genin to Anbu, Lord Ieyasu? Surely Jonin or Anbu would be best suited. Mei questions, her tone slightly challenging yet respectful, and Ieyasu smiles with appreciation for her question.
An excellent point, Mei. However, sometimes the true gems are hidden amongst those not yet fully polished. Genin and Chunin may have untapped potential or unique abilities that have been overlooked. In contrast to some Jonin and Anbu who may have been swayed by political motives or personal gain, Ieyasu explains thoughtfully. Nao leans forward with his eyes sharp and Kaizaru in his mouth. The samurai also hold values that are in sync with what we seek. Discipline, honor, and a devotion to their craft. They train relentlessly and perfect their skills. Among them, we might find warriors who value the protection of the realm above all else, he explains, and Mei nods, processing this new information. That is an insightful approach. Integrating samurai could provide a unique perspective and enhance our capabilities. Mei says, a new sense of respect evident in her voice. We must look beyond the surface and beyond the expected. It's those who dream to become more, those who are willing to push their boundaries, who truly make the difference, Ieyasu further adds, the conversation circling back to his original point. The room falls silent for a moment, the weight of their task settling over them. Each leader knows the path ahead will be fraught with challenges, but also understands the importance of their mission. You will leave in 2 weeks' time. During that time I will have special uniforms made as well as special watches made to signify your new position. Lastly, to inform Konoha of your arrival, Ieyasu says, and looks to Naruto. You can inform the Hokage about you if you wish, or remain as Phantom, he adds, and Naruto nods. The hidden blonde, Mei and Tenten excuse themselves to head back to their room but meet up with Karen along the way. Karen is shocked to learn she will have such a position. I'm going to be a lady-in-waiting to Lady Momo, she says. Seems so, Mei says, proud for the redhead. Naruto and company takes Karen into Edo to celebrate their new positions, with Naruto getting kicked out of an all-you-can-eat place. Naruto chuckles as they walk among the citizen. I never thought I'd be kicked out of a restaurant. Guess there's a first time for everything, he muses. You have a bottomless stomach, Mikoto, and few other shadows say. Karen is still in a slight state of disbelief and mutters to herself. Lady in waiting. I need to prepare so much. I've always been on the sidelines. Now I'm stepping into a role I never imagined, she whispers. But Naruto pats her head. My places a reassuring hand on Karen's shoulder. You'll be brilliant, Karen. Your kindness and strength will make you an excellent lady in waiting, to Lady Momome says, and Tenten nods with a smile. And think about it. You'll possibly get to play with baby Nozomi, Tenten adds with a smile. Karen's eyes light up at the mention of Princess Nozomi, and the thought brings a genuine smile to her face. That's right. I hadn't thought about that part. It would be wonderful to spend time with Princess Nozomi, she says. Their camaraderie is evident as they continue to share in the preparation excitement, their spirits high with anticipation for the unknown adventures that lay ahead. The four would spend the 2 weeks preparing for their new roles and new lives, especially Karen as a lady in waiting. Yuan. Meanwhile, in Konoha, Hiruzen calls another council meeting to discuss the scroll sent Ieyasu, the new fire daimyo. His victory and coronation is a hot topic among the populace. As you've read from the missive before you, the formation of this Gaudy 13 under Prince Ieyasu's command marks a pivot in our stance. We remain neutral per our oaths to Fire Country itself, but now that Lord Ieyasu has ascended to the throne, we must affirm our loyalties, Hiruzen says, eyeing the room with a gravitas that demands attention. This Gaudy 13 will be led by Tsunade Senju and Nao Kanatsugu. Homura says, his tone bore the implicit trust and respect these names commanded. Shikaku steeples his fingers as ever the strategist and leans forward. The creation of such a group, it is a blending of the arts of ninja and samurai. This is unprecedented, he says, with his eyes sharp and calculating, seeming to see beyond the room to envision the implications of such a force. This coalition of forces could be a play at balancing power, or maybe it's a new approach to governance. Inoichi comments, his words floated in the room, and suggesting layers of potential that lay beneath the surface of this decision. It could also symbolize a new era of unity between different martial disciplines, potentially leading to peace or a stronger defense mechanism for the country. Choza says as his voice is steady and sure, bringing nods of agreement from several others. Like our ninja, it takes years to properly training samurai. Hence their small numbers save for Iron Country, or it's a show of power. We'd be fools to not prepare for any implications this may have on Konoha. Seeing as we didn't take sides, Tsume says, with a firm voice that commanded attention, which goes hand in hand with Konoha's oaths. We serve the seat, and whoever sits in it, Hiruzen says, the conviction in his voice reinforced the foundation of their allegiance. Hayashi narrows his eyes in thought with a calm demeanor. We must consider all angles. This group under Lord Ieyasu's leadership could forge a new ally, or a formidable foe. Our response should be equally measured, he says, eliciting thoughtful murmurs from around the room. Koharu and Homura nod at Hayashi's sentiment as their years lend credence to their words. This is a new era, where strength and diplomacy go hand in hand, she says, emphasizing the duality of their upcoming challenges. Such a force led by Princess Tsunade and Kanatsugu could indeed change the geopolitical landscape. We must remain vigilant, Homura adds to the weight of their responsibility. The ever-pragmatist Danzo interjects his opinion with a small tap from his cane to garner attention to him. While your optimism is commendable, do not forget the art of war teaches us to be wary of new formations on the battlefield. The formation of this Gaudy 13 could be a double-edged sword. I, for one, find it difficult to place my trust in such a sudden assembly of power, especially when one such as Tsunade is among its leaders. She had forsaken her oaths as a Konoha ninja, and now she stands at the forefront of this new organization. How can we place our trust in someone who turned her back on her own village, he states. This remark sparks a murmur across the room with shinobi and merchants alike, exchanging uneasy glances. Danzo. Your concerns are noted, but suspicion alone cannot guide our policies, Hiruzen says, quick to interject. But vigilance and preparedness, as Danzo suggests, could prove wise, Homura says, showing his unity with Danzo. The formulation of our response must be strategic and informed. Understanding their goals might be our best first move, Danzo says. The merchant clan leaders, being aware their role is more supportive, voice their concerns over trade and the economy. If the Gaudy 13 brings stability, it might also bring prosperity and new opportunities for trade, one points out, attempting to view the formation from a different perspective. Hiruzen seeks to steer the council back on course. There's more. Lord Ieyasu is sending Tsunade, along with 3 members of the Gote 13 to Konoha. Among them is the one known as Phantom. He was instrumental in supporting Lord Ieyasu, but also fought in the civil war in Water Country. They will come to assess our ninja corps to fill the remaining 3 spots, he says. A ripple of surprise and uncertainty spread through the room, but this intrigues Shikaku as Jonin commander. This presents both an opportunity and a potential threat. How do we ensure Konoha's interests are protected? He says, and Hiruzen nods solemnly.
We must showcase our strengths while discerning their intent. It's crucial we engage diplomatically but prepare for all contingencies. Tsunade will be looking at all our ninja from Genin to Anbu, Hiruzen says, eliciting a shocked response from the council. We should push the likes of Sasuke Uchiha or Hinata Hyuga. Both are shinobi and kunoichi of the year. Their skills alone could open up new routes and safeguard our trades, Kaharu says, keen on highlighting the village's assets.
How exactly would featuring such prominent figures affect us? Aren't they too valuable for the front lines? Let alone trade routes, a merchant member says, voicing the concerns of the more economically focused members of the council. While the potential of the likes of Sasuke and Hinata cannot be underestimated, they are still rookie genin fresh out of the academy. Lord Ieyasu did relay. Genin could be chosen, but their names or clan will not be enough. They'll need to be tested, seasoned by trials. Only then can we truly measure their worth to the Gaudy 13, and to our ambitions of prosperity. Hiruzen says, his wisdom shining. But surely, Hokage-sama, their potential alone. A third merchant leader interjects, brimming with impatience and ambition, but Hiruzen cuts in. Potential is like seeds in unfertilized soil. Without experience or guidance and the right opportunities to grow, they cannot flourish to their fullest, Hiruzen says, his tone firm yet not unkind. The room falls silent at the wisdom in Hiruzen's metaphor sinking in. The discussion that follows is more grounded with considerations on how best to support the growth of these young talents for the future of their nation.
Do we know the 2 other members accompanying Tsunade and Phantom to form the shinobi contingent of the Gote 13? Shikaku asks, redirecting the flow of conversation. Hiruzen sits at the head of the U-shaped table and strokes his beard thoughtfully before responding. Their names weren't given, but one is Tsunade's second apprentice. Known as Sword Dancer due to her unique fighting style, but this is a recent moniker. The other is a close partner to Phantom. Though details about them are scarce but came from Water Country with him, he says. Shikaku's interest is piqued as he leans forward to rest his chin on his interlocked fingers, a partner to Phantom and knowing Phantom's reputation. This partner must be exceptionally skilled, he says.
It's precisely this kind of unknown that puts us at a disadvantage. We must gather more intelligence on these individuals, their skills, motives, everything, Danzo comments, his voice carrying the weight of caution. Skills and motives aside, Tsunade leading this group signifies a formidable force. We can't underestimate them. Knowing Tsunade's capability and her knack for picking strong allies, Koza says, adding to the discussion with respect to Tsunade's reputation.
Indeed, but we need to be cautious. The formation of the Gote 13 under Lord Ieyasu with Tsunade, Naoya Kanetsugu and these skilled shinobi but also samurai, mark the beginning of a significant shift. We must be ready for whatever comes next. Shikaku says, sitting back and absorbing this information. There is also talk amongst them about Tsunade taking a second apprentice, believing she could be bolstering Konoha or branching out on her own. We have deliberated enough for today. Hiruzen says and bangs his gavel. Inform your respective clans of our discussions and prepare them for what's to come, he adds. Nods of agreement circle the room with mixes of determination and concern etched on each face, as everyone begins to trickle out.
The formation of the Gaudy 13 is a bold move by Lord Ieyasu, aligning shinobi with samurai. We've not seen such an alliance in a very long time, Shikaku says, walking with Inoichi and Choza.
Indeed, but our most pressing issue is the inclusion of Phantom within its ranks. Konoha's unawareness of his true identity puts us at a unique disadvantage, Inoichi comments. As the clan heads, merchant heads and elders file out of the room, each was lost in thought, pondering the future and the role they would play in the upcoming events. The shadows continue to dance along the walls, mirroring the uncertainty that lay ahead, but all of them are unaware that the Phantom they are inviting into Konoha is none other than Naruto.
Venentan.
Ever wonder how much Konoha has changed? Tenten says, walking next to Naruto and Mei with Tsunade in the front. Each of them are wearing the uniform for the Gote 13 of black overcoats and a white button-up, cargo pants, black combat boots with a red fourragère and white gloves.
I wonder if Konoha's higher-ups will even listen to us. Considering our ages, Mei says, her voice tinged with doubt yet laced with a hope that they will be heard.
Which is why I leading this. Sensei will listen. He and everyone else will want to stay on Lord Ieyasu's good side and reaffirm their loyalty to the daimyo seat, Tsunade says and glances back to the three. Plus Sensei understands the importance of balance, she adds, her tone firm, yet reassuring. Mei and Tenten nod, but Naruto remains silent with his mask on, hiding the whirlwind of emotions he is grappling with.
Coming back here after so long. I wonder, has Sasuke gotten better or worse, Makoto says, from his shadow. Who cares? The brat is stronger than him, Chibi Zabuza comments. Won't he and Konoha be shocked that the person they scorned is a hero to the outside world, and friend of the new fire daimyo, Chibi Amiori says.
Even saved his life and defeated his brother's army, Chibi Inari adds, and the hidden blonde ruffles his hair.
I wonder what the old man will do when I show him the journal from Uzushio, Naruto thought, to himself and not his shadows. The high gates of Konoha come into view. It's not just about recruiting for Lord Ieyasu's cause, but also forging a path that ensures stability and peace, Tsunade says, and all three nod. The Eternal Gate Guardians, Izumo and Kotetsu, were lounging in the guard shack as Tsunade and company walk up. Excuse me, Tsunade says, breaking the calm with her firm yet soothing voice. Lady. Tsunade Izumo stutters, clearly taken aback by the presence of the legendary Kunoichi.
We should be expected, Tsunade says as her voice carries an air of authority that demanded respect, and both nod. Good. No need for an escort, she adds, as they pass through the gates into the village. While the village bustles around them and unfazed by their arrival, the significance of this moment is not lost on the Ritternees.
It's a bittersweet feeling, huh? Tsunade says, her eyes scanning the familiar yet distant scenes of the village, but also catching glimpses of villagers looking and murmuring about them. Tenten feels a knot forming in her stomach as the familiar streets of Konoha brought back a flood of memories, especially the heated argument she had had with her adopted father Tetsuo.
Never thought I'd set foot here again, Tenten says, her voice barely a whisper betwixt the village's cacophony. Naruto's hand finds hers and offers a silent reassurance that spoke volumes, reminding her that she is not alone in her return.
Konoha has a tendency to push certain people the wrong way, Tsunade says, her tone hinting at her own complex history with the village. It is a reminder that the path to acceptance and understanding within the village's confines is seldom straight. Tenten remembers the argument well, as her father was hiding from her that he hated Naruto like everyone else, but for her he put up with it. However, when it affected his work, and he was losing money, the mask came off. Yes? He was more concerned with money than his daughter's happiness, 1010 says. I've been there. When I lost Dan and Nawaki, I was told to move on. People die. The village must come. First Tsunade says, ignoring the curious glances from the villagers. They do catch the attention of known gossip Ino Yamanaka, and friend or rival Sakura. Haruno, daughter of Merchant Guild member, Kizashi Haruno. Hey, Ino, isn't that Lady Tsunade, one of the legendary Sanin and Look? Isn't that 1010 our upperclassman who dropped out, you know the one? She hung out with that bad kid. But who are the other two, Sakura asks, squinting in an attempt to recognize the faces shrouded in mystery.
Yeah, but who's the masked guy and what's with their clothes? They are walking with a purpose. Maybe it's a high-profile mission. Ino says, leaning closer to the Pinkett. Sakura's brow furrows with concern in her green eyes. You think it's got something to do with those murmurs about Fire Lord Ieyasu's plan for this Gote 13, she says. Definitely looks like something big. Ino muses and cups her chin. With Lady Tsunade here like this, it's definitely no ordinary assignment, she adds.
Then this is my chance to tell them to add Sasuke. When they do, he'll be so impressed by me, Sakura says, seeing the disappearing group, but Ino rolls her eyes. Forget it, forehead. You just want to swoop in and play the heroine in front of Sassy. Well, I had the idea first, so I should be the one to talk to Lady Tsunade, Ino says. Their bickering over who would win Sasuke's affections is a momentary distraction from the gravity of the unfolding events. Back with Tsunade and the group there at the Hawkage Tower, and make their way to Hiruzen's office. Tsunade and company reach Hiruzen's office with the venerable wood of the door creaking softly as his secretary give a quick respectful bow before allowing them entry. The room is steeped in history, every scroll and artifact a testament to the village's storied past. Sensei Tsunade says. Hiruzen's gaze is sharp and discerning, but still holds the grandfatherly aura, 3 of the 4. No, Tsunade? It's been a long while since our last encounter, he says, his eyes sweeping over 1010 and Mei, but it is Naruto that gives him pause. Indeed, but I'm here on important business for Fire Daimyo Ieyasu. Oda. Which you know, Tsunade says. Yes. This Gotti 13 and they are your new comrades, Hiruzen says, looking over the 3 young ninja. Hello, Lord Third. It's good to see you doing well, 1010 says, bowing, and Hiruzen nods. I am Mei Terumi. I have looked forward to this meeting. Your reputation as a shinobi and leader precedes you, Mei says, her voice carrying the calm force of the ocean, but her gaze is as piercing as the tide. Hiruzen nods in acknowledgement with a slight smile forming on his face as he regards each of his visitors in turn, but his eyes fall on the last of the group. And you must be Phantom. I am well aware of your achievements in Mizu, and here, your reputations as a skilled shinobi has reached even these old ears, Hiruzen says, and the silence that follows is palpable. Naruto simply stares at Hawkage as his body is rigid, as if locked in a battle with unseen foes of the past. Your words are kind, old man, Naruto says, and reaches his hand to his black hair, and it becomes sun-kissed blonde before reaching for his mask and revealing his face. Hiruzen, the wise and venerable leader of Konoha, is taken aback to learn Phantom, someone who defeated a perfect Jinchuriki in Yagura Karatachi and was pivotal in aiding Ieyasu, is Konoha's missing Jinchuriki.
Naruto, my boy, Hiruzen says, disbelief coloring his tone.
Surprised, old man, Naruto says. His tone holds no warmth for Hiruzen. He examines Naruto, and the blonde looks nearly identical to his father, but his mother's features were there, and his whiskers have faded. How have survived all these years, Hiruzen says, almost forgetting Tsunade and the others were there. The room hangs silent for a moment as the weight of the reveal pressing down on the cage, and Naruto's gaze hardens. It's a long story, old man, one fraught with. He starts, but his words were cut short. A figure dramatically enters through the window, and it's none other than Jiraiya, making an entrance as grand as always is. Naruto's body goes rigid and he nearly explodes in rage, but Mai grabs his right hand as his rage is abated for the moment.
Jiraiya says and sees Naruto. Minato. No, it's Naruto, he thought, also thinking that his plan could still be salvaged.
Jiraiya, you of all people should understand the gravity of why I'm here. As the spy master of Konoha, or is peeping more important, Tsunade says, glaring at him. Jiraiya chuckles, but it fades into a more sheepish grin. You wound me, Haim. As a man of culture and a writer of the Ika series, I need to do field research. It's not all peeping, he says, but Tsunade's glare doesn't waver. I'm in no mood, Sensei. We'll talk more later. We'll be staying at the Senju estate, Tsunade says.
Yes, Tsunade. I'll call a council meeting to discuss things, Hiruzen says, and the blonde nods, ushering the trio out with her as both blondes glare at Jiraiya.
Sensei, why is Naruto with Tsunade? Is he a part of the forming gaudy 13? Jiraiya says. Hiruzen, with his usual calm demeanor, lets out a soft sigh. Indeed he is. You might find this hard to believe, but Naruto is Phantom, the one who has been aiding Fire Lord Ieyasu and fought in Mist's civil war, he says.
But how, Sensei? Phantom, that elusive figure is Naruto, Jiraiya says.
Yes, the same Naruto I had you looking for, but you returned empty-handed. Saying he was nowhere to be found, Hiruzen says. Jiraiya stumbles for words, and this is an unusual occurrence for him. I searched everywhere I could think of. To think he was right under our nose this entire time and I had no clue, he says. Hiruzen tilts his head slightly with a knowing glance in his eyes. Did you really look for him, Jiraiya? Or were your other pursuits too distracting? He says with a tone holding a hint of challenge, but also a flicker of disappointment. There's a palpable pause, a moment where the air in the room seems to stiffen. There were times when I might not have been as dedicated to the search. I admit, Sensei, there were leads I didn't follow up on, places I didn't check, Jiraiya says, hiding his intent to make Naruto a weapon for Konoha with Minato. Hiruzen's gaze hardens ever so slightly. I thought so. Naruto needed us, but we failed him. Despite that, he has become a power shinobi, he says, a mix of reprimand and sadness in his tone. There's a pause where Jiraiya seems lost in thought on how to spin this and make Naruto subservient to Konoha. Maybe I can make it up to him. I can tell him I'm his godfather and train him like his dad, he says. Maybe, but don't push him, Hiruzen says, and Jiraiya nods, unaware of the shadow attached to him. Yenentan. Naruto falls on a bed in one of the room in the Senju estate, as the four settle in with him, using clones to air out things. Chibi Makoto rubs his forehead as the blonde stares at the ceiling. You should show the Hokage your Minato's journal. Even the one from Uzushio, she says. He'll spin it, claim it lies, and the old man will brush it aside and with no real evidence won't do anything. Thinking it is but the words of the jilted dead, Naruto says and rubs his eyes. No. I'll deal with Danzo and Jiraiya myself, he thought. A knock echoes as Naruto lifts on his elbows to see Tenten and Moe as she saunters in. Are we going to talk about the tension back there with the Toad-san and me? Inquires gently, her gaze softening. Naruto sits up fully and runs his fingers through his blonde hair. It's a bit complicated, he says, lying a bit as both sit on his flanks. You can tell us, Tenten says, taking his left hand in hers, and Nei his right. Naruto takes a few breaths as Chibi Makoto ruffles his hair. When I was still living here, after I awakened my monarch powers, I found my parents' home thanks to the seal my mom placed on me. He starts and sighs. I found 2 journals. One for my mom and one for him. In his were plans to make me more of a weapon than a person. His weapon, and shaped by my father's legacy, he adds, reluctant to say, father. Your father. Jiraiya see you only as an extension of him. Mei says, and Naruto slowly nods. Yeah. He and Jiraiya are obsessed with the idea of me fulfilling some grand design as his son and consideration of what I want or who I am, Naruto says, and Mei pulls Naruto in her chest. You're not a weapon. You're much more than that, and you've proven it time and time again, Mei says, and Tenten nods in agreement. We believe in you, Naruto. It because of who you are, not who anybody wants you to be. Your strength comes from your heart, not from your lineage, Tenten says. They are right, Sweetie Chibi Mikoto says. The remains of the day are spent airing out the estate, and Tsunade sending clones to buy things like food, toiletries, and things for an extended stay in Konoha. The next day comes all too soon as Naruto, dressed in cargo jeans, a polo and his lightning storm hoodie, sits with Mei and Tenten, wearing casual clothes in the council room. Tsunade is speaking to Hiruzen as the clan heads, elders, and merchant clan heads, with each noticing the masked blonde. Whispers begin to circulate about the seated masked blonde, his identity obscured but his aura unmistakable. That must be Phantom, one merchant member whispers to Kizashi, Haruno. Speculation is rife with theories, as the very air seems to hum with anticipation as eyes, both wary and curious, were occasionally glancing his way. Hiruzen bangs his gavel and calls this meeting to order and turns things over to Tsunade as the blonde looks over the assembled group at the U-shaped table. As an uneasy silence envelopes the room before Tsunade clears her throat. I stand before you as the co-leader of Fire Lord Ieyasu's newly formed God 13. Namely, the shinobi side, she begins, her voice resonating with authority. Tsunade-sama, could you elaborate on how the Goti 13 will function within Konoha and Fire Country? Shikaku asks. The Goti 13 will function similarly to the 12 Ninja Guardians did at one time, but will be distinct in its integration of samurai and ninja. This hybrid force will not only enhance our military capabilities, but also pave the way for a greater understanding and cooperation between these two warrior classes, Tsunade explains. The room erupts in whispers and murmurs as the clan heads, elders, and merchant clan heads ponder the implications of such a force and the honor of having their clans possibly represented in this group. Who are those three? Danzo questions, his visible eye on the seated three. These three fill 3 spots among the Gotai. First is Tenten, originally from here and one of my apprentices, Mei Terumi from Water Country, and lastly Phantom, Tsunade replies, keeping Naruto identity under wraps for the moment. Are you not Tetsuo Higarashi's adopted daughter? One merchant head says. Yes, technically, but we had a falling out, Tenten says curtly. Danzo, the ever-skeptic, has his eye on Mei with suspicion of foreign alliances ever evident. Why? Why would someone from the Water Country come to Konoha? In such times, he says, his typical and underlying paranoia mixing in, Mei being unfazed by his inquiry, and with a steadiness that matches the calm flow of water, she wields so expertly, I go where Phantom goes. She replies, simply, and carries a weight of allegiance but mystery as well. This brief exchange adds a new layer to their assembly, hinting at personal loyalties that transcend village boundaries and speak of a uniting cause greater than any individual ambition. What are the precise prerequisites to fill the remaining 3 spots? Inoichi asks, shifting the flow back to the Goti 13.